Hi guys, it's me, Faith Omotosho. If you're new to my channel, you're most definitely welcome. And if you're an existing subscriber or you've been watching my videos, thank you for coming back and I hope you learned something. So on this video, I'm going to be talking about the Article 15 proceeding, right? I kind of hinted that I got one myself and I learned a lot of things from the experience. I want to call it an experience. And I would like to share with you guys, just so you avoid some mistakes that I made and you're better prepared in case you do get an Article 15. So first of all, in the Army, it's pretty easy to stay out of trouble. Be at the right place at the right time in the right uniform, pass your PT test, don't be disrespectful, don't sexually harass or assault anybody, don't bully people, just the basics. Usually if you stick with the basics, you stay out of trouble. Don't drink and drive, the usual spill you get on a Friday before a weekend, right? Pretty easy, right? But the funny thing is nobody's perfect and we all make mistakes, and sometimes you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, or you just step on somebody's toes. Yeah, that's enough to get you in trouble apparently. So firstly, counseling statements. That's a big thing for me, and I feel like you guys should know about that. So usually a counseling statement is when you do something bad. You can get a positive counseling statement or a negative counseling statement, an event oriented counseling statement. You can get counseling statements for a bunch of things, but in this video I'm going to concentrate on negative counseling statements. The Army says there's nothing as a negative counseling statement, but this is kind of negative. So for example, somebody says you disrespected them, and your first line supervisor decides to give you a counseling statement just as a record and to work out a plan of action for how not to be disrespectful to another person. Well, if somebody says you were disrespectful and you feel you weren't disrespectful, or you had witnesses that were there to attest to the fact that you weren't disrespectful, don't just sign a counseling statement. Please do not. Like, most times your first line supervisor will tell you, oh, it's just a counseling statement, sign it, it's not going anywhere. But a counseling statement is a record. So the more counseling statement you get, the easier it is for your chain of command to initiate an Article 15 proceeding against you. So if you know for a fact that you didn't do anything wrong, there's a chance for you to write a rebuttal. So you write your own version of the story in there. Don't just sign anything. Let me give you an example. So last year ish, something happened. There was a miscommunication and my first line supervisor counseled me for lying, right? And I know I didn't lie, because in the first place a sergeant told me to tell somebody else something. So there was no reason for me to have lied, because I was just repeating verbatim what this other person told me. But my sergeant misunderstood the situation and he counseled me for lying, right? And I did a rebuttal on my counseling statement. I wrote my version of the story, and he wasn't pleased about it. My first line supervisor wasn't pleased about it. So we took it to my first sergeant and he read my statement, and we kind of walked through the process. And at the end of the day, they found that I wasn't lying. Like I said, they called the person that told me to say what I said, and the person said, yeah, that's what I told her to say. So there was, she's not lying. So if I hadn't spoken up and defended myself, it would have been on record that I'm a liar, and in future that would have come out to bite me in the ass, because something else would have come up, and I signed to the fact that I'm a liar. So please, if you get counseled, read it through. If you have a rebuttal, definitely write it down. Don't just sign, just put your signature to stuff, because those things will come back and bite you in the ass. Secondly, like I said, we're not perfect, right? Sometimes you do get in trouble, sometimes you're misunderstood, and an Article 15 proceeding is initiated against you. So what the Article 15 proceeding is, it's a non-judicial way of correcting or punishing you, or whatever it is the Army coins it as. But for that period, you get flagged. So a flag is like a temporary hold while the Article 15 proceeding is being, you know, processed against you. And for that period while you're being flagged, you can be flagged for a numerous, you know, for numerous reasons. But if you do something bad, you're usually flagged, and you can't do anything progression wise. You can't be promoted, you can't PCS, you can't receive awards. Like, it's a big deal. But yeah, then the Article 15 proceeding, right, it will be read to you, right? So they bring you in, they read the allegations against you. It could be for disrespect or whatever it is that you did, or they're saying you did, right? Then you're given 3 days to write a statement. A statement, you know, including your own version of the story, you know, your accomplishments. Give me a second, please. So you'll be given a chance to write your own version of the story. In my case, I just listed down all my achievements in the army, you know, everything I've done, all the positive things I've done, my own side of the story. And you want to put it in a very respectful way, you know, very precise, concise, short, but to the point, right? That's what you want to do in your statement. And you're also given a chance to talk to the trial defense service. So that's like the legal part of the army. They advise you on how to write your statement. They advise you on the possibility of the punishment you're going to get. So the Article 15 proceeding, it could be a company grade or a field grade. So a company grade is usually limited to like the company or the battery, right? And that usually, if you get punished under a company grade Article 15, it doesn't transfer with you. What that means is when you leave that particular duty station, you know, it's done. You serve your punishment and it's done. It doesn't show your record. So your new unit doesn't even have to know that you got in trouble. But if you get a field grade, like a brigade commander is the one that is actually giving you the punishment, it stays on your record. So it shows that, you know, you were actually in trouble once and you were punished. That stays on your record. So when you and another thing I want to tell you guys is, when you're talking to the TDS guys, the trial defense service guys, you still need to do your research. So while I was going through my Article 15 proceeding, I was very what's the word, I was very sad, and I didn't take time to do my research. So the lawyer told me that because you have a chance to appeal, right? When you know the first when you write your first statement, you go to your battery commander if it's a company grade Article 15, and you read your statement, you bring your witnesses, you have the chance to appeal within 5 days to the next in command, the next in the chain of command, right? The lawyer told me that the next in the chain of command can give me a higher punishment if you want. And that was what I went, that was the knowledge I kept in my head. But it was after the whole process that I found out that, you know, the regulation actually states that the next in the chain of command can give you a higher punishment than what you've been given. So for example, your company commander reads your statements, you bring your witnesses to attest to your character, and it gives you, maybe it demotes you a rank less, right? Maybe you're a specialist and it demotes you to PFC. If you decide to appeal, the next in the chain of command can't demote you any further or can't punish you any further. Well, I didn't know that, and the lawyer didn't tell me that. So that was one of the reasons why I did not appeal. So my punishment, to me, my punishment wasn't bad. I didn't get demoted, but I could have appealed because I feel like I had a strong argument, but I was scared, I was tired, I just wanted the whole process to be done. So from the period where I was flagged, it took about 2 months. So for that 2 months, I wasn't myself. So if you do get in trouble, I know it's not easy to just be like, oh, be strong or whatever, but you need to just be ready for that period of time. you're probably going to be very antsy, very withdrawn, because I mean you don't know the punishment you're going to be given. The punishment like varies depending on what you did. You could get chaptered out, you could get demoted, your pay could be reduced, you could get flagged, like be on unfavorable suspension for how many months that the company commander decides. So it's, I mean, for a lot of people it's life-changing for a lot of people. But I will advise from my experience to appeal. If you know that, you know, you have a chance, or your argument, or for some reason you're being accused wrongly, I will highly suggest that you appeal. You know, sometimes the person that's punishing you may or may not be biased, right? Because everybody's talking to him at that time concerning your situation, so he has conflicting, you know, ideas about what he should do with you. But the next chain in the chain of command, there's a likelihood that he or she is less biased and more neutral. So I will highly suggest that you appeal. And the appeal process, it takes 5 days. Just if your statement is like good, just keep it. If you have more things to add, more achievements you've done in the army, more records, more positive records, you can add it. If you have more witnesses that can attest to your character, definitely add it. If you have like people that you've worked with, supervisors and, you know, sergeants that, you know, I've worked with you closely and can say, okay, this soldier is a good soldier and this one time was a mistake for you, definitely get their statement, a written statement, and you submit it. For the company grade commander, you usually can be present and read your statement to he or she, but when you're appealing, you're not there physically. You just, you know, present all your documents to the person. So your statement has to be like really good. And what else? And most times people don't get out, like people get punished most times. I haven't seen a lot of Article 15 proceedings that people walk away free of, right? But my advice is it will be hard, you know, getting punished, especially if you feel like you didn't actually do what you're being accused of, or it was a mistake. It could be hard, but at the end of the day, it's a learning process. It's a learning process. You move on. Life will not always be fair, and that's what I tell myself. Like, I like doing videos that I've gone through what I'm talking about, so I can empathize and sympathize with, you know, the videos I'm making. So it will not always be easy. You know, you can get awards during that period. After the Article 15 proceeding is done, you can get awards, you can get promoted, you can PCS, you can re-enlist. So it's really hard for a lot of people, but you have to be strong, right? So you learn from the experience and you move on. When you know, gain rank, you know what and what not to do. When you're punishing your soldiers, you can sympathize and empathize with them. You're more understanding, I feel, of their situation, right? So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to tell you guys. I think I covered like the whole process of the Article 15 proceeding. If you guys have any questions, any concerns, if you're going through an Article 15, please don't hesitate to send me a message. Leave it in the comment section below. I will answer your questions. Yeah, I think that's it. If you like this video or you gain anything from this video, please do not hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe, please. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.